dynasty guided them into one. Exactly the same thing that united Japan is called the Yamato dynasty. It is the oldest dynasty in the world. First Yamato emperor ruled in Japan almost 2,000 years ago, and the Yamato emperor is still on the throne today. If you put your finger on the map right in the middle of China and then move right west, you'll come to the Pacific Ocean. Made up of 4 really thin Pacific, just east of China. There's so long that there are frozen plains of snow and nothing to go on. There's coral reefs and warm sunny beaches at the south end. 4 big islands that make up Japan with almost 4,000 small islands all around them. At first, Japan was ruled by many different clans or families. Each clan has its own territory and its own government. The one clan in the middle of Japan, the Yamato clan, grew stronger than all the rest. The Yamato leaders conquered all of the other clans one by one. It took over 200 years. Finally, the Yamato leaders could call themselves the emperors of Japan. The Yamato emperors told stories to prove that they deserved to rule over Japan. These stories announced that the Yamato emperors were living gods, descendants of Amaterasu, the sun goddess. Here is one of those lessons. In the beginning, the world of Sky Prince, the world was full of sky spirits who created the islands of Japan. These spirits had children of their own. The strongest and most beautiful of the daughters was Amaterasu. Amaterasu was given the entire sky to rule over, but her brother Susanoo, who had been given the sea, was jealous. The sky is larger than the sea, he complained.
Summary. Turn next page. Not that page.
Thank you.
Alright, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
I heard a no. Who said no? Oh, well, okay. In the early Middle Ages of Japan, there was clans all over. After 200 years of fighting, one dynasty took over Japan, the Yamatos told stories to make them seem like gods.
Because I noticed some people having a hard time keeping up. We're on the second line, last sentence at the beginning. I'll show you.
These stories that they told were about the goddess Amaterasu and her brother Sun, the god of the moon. At the time, Japan's neighbor, Korea, was called the Three Kingdoms because it was split up. One of the Korean kingdoms asked Japan for help from China. Well, they teamed up. The Koreans told Japan about China's culture. They also introduced the Japanese to reading and writing. However, Japan cut ties with Korea and China and did its own thing. Today, the Yamato dynasty still lives on. Yay!
And I want to kind of give us a preview of next year. We actually start next year in a very similar story where Japan takes all these great ideas from other places and then says, actually, thanks, but no thanks. You guys stay over there, right? So that's why Japan still has its own language and its own customs that are very specific. They have a lot of pride in their culture. But there's a word that goes with that we're going to learn next year, because Great Britain starts expanding, and Japan says no thanks, and that's called isolationism. Everybody say isolationism.
Isolationism.
That's where a country decides we don't want to deal with you guys, right? So Japan has a long history. So that's how we start next year.
Alright, this is the map. We're doing the map now. Right. First, I want you to color Korea orange, okay? You understand me, people?
As a reminder, Korea is the only peninsula. You guys say peninsula.
Peninsula.
Japan is at a peninsula. Why or why not? Haven.
The peninsula because it just
Wait, Japan?
No, not Japan.
Okay, so why is Korea a peninsula? Good.
Korea is a peninsula because it's the surrounding the ocean and has three sides covered in water.
Three sides covered in water. Why is Japan not a peninsula?
Because it's an island.
It's islands. How many islands? One island?
4,000.
It's 4 big islands and about, is it 4,000 or?
Yeah, it's
it's a
4,000.
number that always bothers me.
It said 4,000 at the beginning.
Yeah, so thousands of islands. Remember, it stretches all the way from what would be Maine in the United States all the way down to Florida.
Wait, really?
So you can go skiing in the north of Japan, and then in the south, it's like Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Alright, next step is to color Japan yellow. Color Japan yellow.
My Japan is going to become bright yellow. What is the one main thing when everything decay is the Empire of Japan?
Corey, do I also color all the little islands?
All this? Oh, this?
That's a great question for Willa.
Willa, do I also color in all the little islands?
Yes, please. And this one.
Is
That
this part of
color here.
China?
What?
Is this part of China?
That. This is.
Is this part of China?
Yeah, the next step, since you are doing the next step now, is color China red or pink. Either one.
Pinky.
Okay.
China. Oh my god, China's big.
China is huge. Which is a sister country.
I also have all the resources that they said to America.
The yellow sea. How many yellow
Yes.
There's only one.
Is that Japan?
Yeah. And this Japan, that's Japan.
That's Japan too?
Yeah.
And all of this is China?
Yeah.
Wait, Willa, is this Japan?
Yeah. That is Japan. So
This island looks like Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting, and this one I actually didn't think that was.
Oh yeah.
Look over here.
I'll just want to color it.
Alright. I see that.
It is?
What?
You want to look at it?
Yeah, let me just finish coloring.
Okay, I see that someone's done the whole thing, so I'm gonna tell the last instruction. Make a line from China. There's a dot that says number 1.
Mm-hmm.
That, and then go to number 2, the dot, which is in Korea. And then go to number 3, the dot, which is in Japan. Right. And then you can play the water below. Because, I have very good at the mayor.
Wait, then what do we do after that? We color.
Then we color water.
Yeah, what are some of the names of those oceans and seas over there, guys?
We also need to connect to the dots along here.
What are some of the names? What do you see there?
East China
Yellow-
Sea.
I'm behind.
You don't have to do that. It's fine.
Sea of Japan.
Yellow Sea.
Wait, so
Sea of Japan.
There? Yeah, sure. Good enough. Hey, don't do the coloring sheet yet. Gotta wait for
She has one more direction for you about how written language traveled in other customs.
I kind of already told that to them.
Did you? Sorry, I was busy looking at that map over there.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Will you say it again so I can hear?
Yeah, so I want you to make a line on number 1. There's a dot near number 1, and I want you in China, and I want you to draw it to Korea, which is nothing number 2, the dot. And then go to Japan, which is the dot number 3.
What is this little island? What color that is?
You color that pink or red. I didn't color anything.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Oh. Oh, so sorry. Yes. So Taiwan, you may or may not know, is its own nation, which China really wants to take over.
Really?
And the Taiwanese say no thanks, but China's saying oh yes.
will be gone.
So we'll see what happens in the next few years.
I'm pretty sure China's gonna like take over. Especially how big. Wait, so this is Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if China is this, then you just go.
Yeah. So you're noticing, power, just the power of the
I think-
size of China.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually it has to do with resources. There's
Yeah.
something. Taiwan actually has a lot of industry, and it's this idea of sovereignty for China. They think sovereignty means like king, like almost kingly in a way. They think, ooh, that's our land, should belong to us. They don't have a king, right? But so
Isn't Taiwan?
it's
Is Taiwan like peaceful?
Taiwan, yes, peaceful and democratic. So it's a little bit like Ukraine and Russia, where Russia keeps wanting Ukraine for. Yep.
So China is like Russia.
And we're going to learn the history of Russia this year, of Kyiv, which is in Ukraine, and how Russia comes out of it. So that's part of the reason Russia wants to have Ukraine. They think, oh, that's where we stand.
I hope that China doesn't do it for that Russia's going to take over. Like, just talk it, send it over, they're like, hey, maybe we can make a Putin somewhere. Like,
So you're talking that word is diplomacy. Everybody say diplomacy.
Diplomacy.
I hear someone saying, let's talk it out, let's figure it out, let's not have it.
Alright, if you are done with the map, you can turn to the next page which has the coloring sheet on. Take your time with the map. And now we should probably do the video.
Yay, video.
I'm gonna do random because I don't know what to do. Jasper, would you like to learn about the sun goddess or the moon goddess?
Moon goddess.
God. Moon god.
He looks so bad in this picture. It's like,
I almost passed out from a mold reaction in my own basement. My hospital grade HEPA filter was
Good job.
Susanoo no Mikoto is the bad boy of Japanese mythology, infamous for his mischievous and sometimes destructive behavior, and has a reputation as being something of a trickster, also known as Takeheya. Susanoo no Mikoto, he is the Shinto god of the sea and storms, and the brother of Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun, and of Tsukuyomi, the god of the moon. Susanoo no Mikoto is a kami in Japanese mythology. Kami are the deities, divinities, spirits, mythological, spiritual, or natural phenomena that are venerated in the Shinto religion. They can be elements of the landscape, forces of nature, beings and the qualities that these beings express, and or the spirits of venerated dead people. Many kami are considered the ancient ancestors of entire clans. So
I'm going to pause there because I noticed our book never used that word Shinto, right? But do you guys all understand the idea of Shinto, the religion, Shintoism? So it's basically sort of an ancestor worship where they respect almost like the Day of the Dead, if you're familiar with that tradition, where you celebrate your ancestors. Now they celebrate the ancestors going back very far, but yes, if you've seen some of the little shrines with pictures in a movie or something, those would be a Shinto. Yeah, or in Mexico, you might see a little shrine as well. So it's quite similar tradition between the cultures.
some ancestors become kami upon their death if they were able to embody the values and virtues of kami in life. Traditionally, great leaders like the emperor could be or became kami. In Shinto, kami are not separate from nature, but are of nature, possessing positive and negative and good and evil characteristics. They are manifestations of Musubi, the interconnecting energy of the universe, and are considered exemplary of what humanity should strive towards. Kami are believed to be hidden from the world and inhabit a complementary existence that mirrors our own Shinakai, the world of the Kami. To be in harmony with the awe-inspiring aspects of nature is to be conscious of Kananagara no Michi, the way of the Kami. Susanoo no Mikoto is the younger brother of Amaterasu, goddess of the sun and mythical ancestress of the Japanese imperial line. He is a multifaceted deity with contradictory characteristics, both good and bad, being portrayed in various stories as either a wild, impetuous god associated with the sea and storms, as a heroic figure who killed a monstrous serpent, or as a local deity linked with the harvest and agriculture. Syncretic beliefs of the Yeon cult that arose after the introduction of Buddhism to Japan also saw Susanoo becoming conflated with deities of pestilence and disease. Susanoo, alongside Amaterasu and the earthly Kami, Okuninoshi, depicted as either Susanoo's son or scion, depending on the source, is one of the central deities of the Imperial Japanese mythological cycle recorded in the Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki. One of the gazetteer reports, Fudoki, commissioned by the Imperial Court during the same period these texts were written, that of Izumo Province in western Japan, also contains a number of short legends containing Susanoo or his children, suggesting a connection between the god and this region. The god was born when his father, Izanagi, washed his nose in the river when performing ritual cleansing rites following his experience in the underworld, which may explain why he has always had a hint of darkness about him. Initially, Susanoo no Mikoto ruled the Takama no Hara, high celestial plane, with his sister Amaterasu, but from the very beginning he caused trouble by destroying forests and mountains and killing the local inhabitants down on Earth. For this reason, he was banished from heaven. On the pretext of saying goodbye to his sister, Susanoo no Mikoto once again caused great destruction on his way to her palace. The mountains trembled in his wake. Amaterasu was immediately convinced her brother was up to no good, but when challenged, he claimed he merely wished to bid her farewell and to prove his good intentions. Said that if he could miraculously bring into the world 5 new deities, and if they turned out to be male, it would prove his honesty. Susanoo no Mikoto then took the 500 jewel necklace off his sister, ate them, and spat them out as a mist from which 5 male deities were born. These new gods, or Kami, along with the 3 female gods produced when Amaterasu performed a similar feat by eating her brother's sword, became the ancestors of the Japanese nobility, fueled by testosterone and having won this challenge. Susanoo no Mikoto went on another rampage. Once again, trees were destroyed and many rice fields. Then, to add insult to injury, in a rather tasteless joke, Susanoo no Mikoto flayed a divine horse and threw it through the roof of the palace where Amaterasu was quietly weaving. Furious at her brother's outrageous behavior, the sun goddess shut herself in a cave and only came out again after much myth-creating enticement from the other gods. Susanoo no Mikoto was once again exiled from heaven. In some accounts, he took up residence with his mother Izanami in Yomi, the underworld, while in other versions, he rules the realm of the seas. Descending to the earthly realm, Susanoo no Mikoto landed at Torikami in the province of Izumo, and whilst wandering along the river, he found 3 people weeping, an old man and a woman and their beautiful young daughter, all sobbing uncontrollably and absolutely terrified. On inquiry, they told the god that their distress was caused by a gigantic serpent known as Yamato no Orochi, or the Koshi, which came to terrorize the region every year and ate one of their daughters, and now the distressed parents were down to their last daughter, Kushana Dahime. Never one to miss a trick, Susanoo no Mikoto struck a bargain with them that if he killed the monster, he could marry the beautiful girl. Agreeing to this, the parents followed the god's instructions and placed 8 vats filled with extra strong sake at each of the doorways of their house. After a while,
This is my favorite classy gift again.
the monstrous serpent duly arrived with fire spitting from each of his 8 heads. When the fearsome creature smelled the sake, it could not resist, and each head drank from one of the vats. Consequently, the serpent collapsed, completely drunk, and Susanoo no Mikoto nonchalantly stepped out from his hiding place and lopped off each of the serpent's heads with his sword. Then, opening the creature's belly, he discovered the special sword, the kusanagi, or grass cutter. In other versions of the story, he extracts it from the serpent's tail. This sword he presented to his sister, no doubt in a way of apology for his earlier conduct, who gave it to her grandson, Ninigi, who was the first ancestor of the Japanese imperial family. It became part of the imperial regalia preserved in the Temple of Atsuta near Nagoya. In Japanese art, Susanoo no Mikoto is often depicted with wild hair blowing in the winds, wielding a sword and fighting the 8-headed monster, Yamato no Orochi. He also plays an important role in online gaming as a sort of anti-hero. In the way of all gods, there are both positive and negative features at the base of this god's character. From earliest times, he was a god who was supposed to bring sufficient rain for the crops, which suggests his worship was derived from the priests performing rites for rain at shrines, where sacred rice and water were regularly offered to the gods. Despite his reputation as a bad boy amongst the Shinto gods, Susanoo no Mikoto is credited with giving certain cultural gifts to humankind. If you'd like to learn more about a vast variety of deities, then please take a look at our book.
What did you guys notice about the video?
It was a person making it.
Ooh, tell me more. I was going to ask, do you think it was AI generated or do you think it was made by
I
Human.
think it was by a person.
Person, because if they're trying to make a man and he has that much emotion, it'd be much more blurry.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely at first.
The
I
images
thought-
were definitely AI generated.
Why do you say that? Because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, AI. And then I
It's
was
because
like,
the images are AI, but the actual person doing the thing is not AI.
yeah.
Like the person made the images using AI probably, but the actual person that was talking was not AI. Well, the voice may have been like a voiceover, but
So who can tell me? I'm going to ask for someone else. What? Oh, actually, let's do a little vote. Give me a thumbs up if you think, oh yeah, those images were generated by AI. Side with if you're like, I have no idea. And down if you're like, no, I think the person drew them. All right. So, can I hear your ideas?
Some of those pictures he could have had just got off the web, like got them off like Google or something, and someone else did them by AI.
Okay. So he might have just been scraping the internet himself. He maybe didn't
Yeah,
generate them himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could generate he definitely probably generated some of them, but there's definitely like things you could get off like the internet that someone already like edited or like another AI like made like a head or something and then they like edited it or something.
Thank you. Person, I noticed you had what indicated to you, what qualities about the images looked like AI to you?
Just a detail one.
Something about the detail.
Yeah.
Can you tell
guy
me?
was talking, you could easily just have AI generate them.
Okay.
So,
Jessica, what do you think?
AI.
And pictures. What qualities about them do you think?
They look too good to be true.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. And Finley?
When I thought I knew I read it, the wrong way. I didn't think it was a person because, as he said, my face would be blurry, the voice would be a little like it would be human, but it would be like normal, really. And as someone who draws the style of that, seeing it, I can be like, oh, that is AI.
So there's something about when you make the art.
vibration.
There's a certain,
and all the details of the lines, like that would take a long time.
Yeah, if you created one of those, it'd be
It would, if you made one of those, it would take you like 10 or 20 years.
Years.
So
It would
hold
take
on.
years.
So Ethan, I want your comment, but because we're talking about art and Tegan and Laura are both such good artists as well, I want to hear, what do you think? Was it obviously AI too, or what do you think about that art? What did you think? I don't remember. Did you have your thumb up? You thought it was AI? Sideways, you weren't sure, or down? Like, no, I think the person actually made this with the sideways. I'm not sure, and that's fine. So this conversation is really about that. Tegan, it's like, how do we figure it out? And there's no right answer, right? We're all figuring it out together in real time. Look.
First of all, a big hint is that artists back then in China would draw that good, because I don't think so. Second hint, there was like a lot of like how do I say this? They like painted and like you could see the stroke marks. So that doesn't look like it. Like was taking a picture and this picture had been taken that good, okay? Yes. Second of all, I looked at the leaves, like it was a really detailed drawing, and I looked at the leaves. They looked like circles.
Yeah, so good. I love that you, with your artistic vision, are sharing that with us. I'm going to go to him and then back to Carson, then we'll get back to your presentation, but it always feels like a good time to talk about AI and being able to decide what we think about if it is.
I think like AI because of how glossy it was, and then also because of like how it was made, like what it looked like, and then yeah, that's really it.
Thank you, Carson.
I look at a lot of AI images and there's just a certain look. Like Sora, which is an AI platform, that looks pretty realistic. Which is basically I can tell if it's AI.
So that's really the skill that we're trying to practice by having this conversation is just having that sense, you know, to see something. Now, guys, I'm not saying AI is bad, okay? AI it's the future, 100%, and it's gonna help you in school, without a doubt. That being said, I don't teach you AI because you're gonna learn it anyway, number one, and number two, it's my job to teach you how to think and how to read and how to actually look at a text.
My sister hates AI completely.
Yeah, so
For no reason.
lots of different opinions about it, but just know that I do value it. But I don't think it's my job to teach you it. I think it's your job to learn what I'm teaching you, these skills. Because these you can use anywhere. Hold on, Finley, and then Chloe, and then we gotta get back to Willa because we want to do her conclude.
I feel like I'm not fully against that, but I don't particularly like it very much. Like it helps me in ways. It helps me be a better drawer, it helps me do stuff. And I like that, that's nice. But it's our future, but may not help as much as people think. Like it's getting aware that it's AI. It can start to think.
You're thinking of the word generate.
Yeah,
When I
it
see
can
your hands
start to
doing
do
this,
stuff
yeah.
that
Come up with
people aren't wanting them to learn yet. It's sort of like Jurassic World. They made a new dinosaur now.
Yeah, thank you, Finley. I appreciate that. Chloe, and then we've got to move on so we can get to the rest of the presentation.
I think that AI is really good, but you have to make sure you're using AI in the right way. Like, if you're on a test and like maybe you have to do it at home, and you just use AI to do all your questions for you, then you're not going to learn anything. That's why sometimes AI is not the best way to learn things. That's why if you learn like actually how to do it instead of just looking it up and not even trying it, like sometimes if I like think of an equation and then like just like it's not if it's not schoolwork and I'm like, oh, how many days is my birthday from Halloween? If I just Google it, then I'm not really learning anything. I just Google them, not writing
I hope you're giving your attention to what Chloe is saying. It's super important what she's hitting on because there's articles in the New York Times. Could you stop that?
I don't know how to.
Oh, really? Oh, where did that even come from?
I don't know.
Started dancing.
We're freaking out. Okay. Oh, now it's gonna log in again. That's strange.
You can't click on it.
AI's now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're listening.
Well, if you like have ChatGPT do your essay, it's
Thank you. So what I was gonna say there is
What is going on?
yeah. I think I'm gonna have to X out of here, guys. I'm not sure. I've never. This is our new technology. It can help us, and it can be really.
Oh, I think it's the wig. It's the wig. The wig messing with the board.
Oh. Sometimes, if anything's on here, it does kind of mess with the board. Let's just see if you're
yeah,
right.
it does like
I don't want to be incognito. Let's just see if it'll let me. Okay, let me just see if it'll. Sometimes if something's on there, I don't know why that is. Well, it's not your fault, but.
It's because the hair is basically taking the Bible is taking the hairs in your fingers and clicking the Bible.
So let's just get back there. But I need to finish just wrapping up this thought that I heard you saying, both of you. Even in college, at the college level, students are using AI all the time, and they're finding the professors are like, they haven't learned anything. They're not actually processing things. And what I really want you guys to remember is don't be afraid of not knowing or making mistakes, because that's where the learning is. If you know everything, you have all the answers, well, did you learn anything? No.
Like, remember the answers.
If you can regurgitate it, you won't hold on to it. You'll forget it. Because when you make a mistake or when you don't know and you have that uncomfortable feeling, that's what's making the pathway in your brain. So don't be afraid of that, okay? Alright, let's get on to our review card and then.
Alright.
So pick up your pencil, you need to mark text as she's reading.
East of China, in Japan, the Yamato leaders conquered the other clans and became the emperors. They know they had to be good rulers, so they borrowed ideas on how to rule their country from China and Korea. Soon all the important people in Japan spoke and wrote Chinese. But when China marched into Korea, Japan cut off connections and began to write, paint, dress, and sing in its own way. Yay!
So just everybody wants you to remember Chinese, the Japanese written language comes from Chinese. So those original characters that they made, they just borrowed, right? It's for their own written language. They didn't have one. All right. What's your project?
Wait, I need to.
Okay, in chapter 9, I read about Simon. Me, the god of the moon. Me, from a medieval man. I made a costume. Me. First, I cut up a pair of pants. Me. Next, I got a wig and cut it up to size. Me. Then I grabbed a jacket and cut it up and glued it on. I forgot where I put the jacket. Finally, I put on a pair of red pants. I forgot those pants also. So, yeah. From this project, I learned something that seemed fun. My take actually was longer than I expected, and it scares me.
And that's